Let's revisit real quickly that match from Monday night. Sam Mewis with a hat trick. I'm not just talking about the game against Colombia, but really over the last year. Can you think of anybody else in the U.S. women's national team pool who's playing better than Mewis? Because I can't.
No, I agree with you. She has been on fire. I mean, testament in that hat trick, her first ever in a U.S. jersey. But she's got 7 goals in her last 9 games. And I know it's been a weird year, so 9 games has taken about a year to play. And on top of that, Sebastian, she's playing really well over in Manchester for Man City. So she's got 6 goals on the year there. And I mean, this is a very good player, as we've known for a very long time. But I have never seen her look this good, this confident, this in form. So I think by far she is the best player on the national team right at this moment.
Another interesting note about Monday is it's the first game since Vlatko Andonovski, the new manager, made Becky Sauerbrunn the captain. And not just a co-captain situation like we've seen in the past where the armband gets passed around. She is the only captain now moving forward for the U.S. women's national team. I wonder what you think of the move and just how important the captaincy is within this group.
I think it's a great move. I think Becky Sauerbrunn makes for an excellent captain because she checks all the boxes, right? She's a great human. She's a great leader. She's so well respected. She's a great player. She does a ton of the work for the team. She rolls up her sleeves. She's invested. She's shown that year in and year out. Whether she was the captain in the past or not, she handled that really well also. And so I think it's great news that they've given her the captain's armband. But I also think, to your question about how important that role is, one of the things that has always been a mainstay with the U.S. women's national team is it's a captain by committee and it's captain by community. I mean, when I was a captain, you had all these incredible veterans around you who helped you lead the team. And Becky's in a very similar situation. She's got wonderful teammates and players and veterans with wisdom surrounding her. And so, yes, it is important that she got the armband and she gets that recognition, but really it is going to be captain by committee because that's how we've always operated on that team, and I think it's a healthy way to lead, actually.
We made it a couple minutes into this segment without mentioning Stanford, so let's get that out of the way. I'll mention it in the context of Katarina Macarios' debut for the U.S. women's national team. Brazilian-born, just got FIFA clearance to represent the U.S. She leaves Stanford over. She's going overseas. She leaves Stanford early to go overseas and play for Lyon professionally. There's so much hype right now around this player. I wonder what you thought of her debut, and does she actually have a chance to break into this tight Olympic roster?
I think the hype, and we've seen this around younger players before. We've seen this around Mallory Pugh. We saw it somewhat around Sophia Smith, although she wasn't able to play in that last game because of an injury in warm-up. But I think it's warranted, the hype, because Katarina Macario is a special player. I mean, watching her at Stanford and the way she was able to dominate the college game, mind you, again, this is a different level than the college game, but the thing about Kat, and I was impressed by her performance her first time because she looked so confident, so calm, and that's always been what makes her so special is this calmness on the field. She's got this grace on the field, but also beyond her scoring abilities, which we saw at Stanford, she can play make. She can be versatile. She can play in midfield. She can play up front. She can play in the 9. She can play in the 11. And so that's where I actually think she has a chance at a young age because of that versatility, because, as we'll talk about, the cut-down roster for Olympics being only 18, a chance to possibly sneak into this bubble of 18 because she brings all those skill sets and because she already, at only 22 years old, in her first ever national team cap, looks so comfortable.
So you mentioned Mallory Pugh in there. We didn't see her Monday night. Not only did she not play, she didn't even dress. For those who don't know, I mean, I'll remind you, this is a player who, as a teenager, was starting for the U.S. in the Olympics in a knockout game against Sweden in 2016. I know she's just 22, but if we do see her on Friday, Julie, how close to last chance saloon is this for Mallory Pugh?
Well, we won't see her on Friday. Vlatko Andonovski just said on a call that she picked up an injury her third day in training here at this camp. So she only had 2 days with the team. Third day picked up the injury. She didn't play on Monday. She's not going to play on Friday, which is unfortunate, to your point, because this has been an ongoing battle for Mal Pugh to get back into this mix. And there's all these setbacks that keep happening, whether it's injury, she's out of form. She's just had a string of terrible luck. But mind you, the most important sentence in there is the fact that you said she's still 22 years old. So this is a player who hit the ground running very early with a lot of expectations and hype, and I do think still has a ton of upside. She is only 22. Mind you, it hasn't materialized in the way people had hoped with her success at the Olympics in 2016. But I do think if she can get herself healthy, if she can get a little bit of consistency on her belt, then this is a player at 22 that still has some upside. So I am not counting her out yet. No way.
Right, so we're looking ahead to Friday, and people say, U.S. huge favorites over Colombia. Why should I watch this match? In the context of an Olympic year, it's really, really important. You can take 23 players, Julie, to a World Cup. You can only take 18 players to the Olympics. So we know that the fight for those spots is going to be very intense over the next couple months. Are there any superstars, big name players who might be on the so-called bubble?
Well, I think, yes. I think the two biggest names are on the bubble just because of the time off. Now, mind you, people will hear that and go, wait, what? You're not going to take Megan Rapinoe or Carli Lloyd? And I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is with a year layoff, Carli Lloyd will be 39 come the Olympics, if it happens in July of 2021. And Megan Rapinoe will have just turned 36. Now, you could argue, because we'll have to see these next coming months, that the long layoff was necessary. For Carli, it was injury. For Megan Rapinoe, she had COVID concerns and she didn't feel like her training environment was appropriate to allow her to get back into game fitness. So she took off more time and just rested. So two ways it could go. One, it was great for their body. They're rested. They're back. Because as we know, it's a very tight turn. If the Olympics usually happen the very year after the World Cup, it's a very hard turn for older players because of that exhaustion. So it could be great news that these two are rested and they're back. Or, in the coming months will tell, it could have been too long of a layoff. And that runway is actually too long to get back to the level they were at. So the next months are going to be very telling. But those two in particular, I think, are two that Vlatko Andonovski is going to be looking at. And I don't think he actually cares about age. He wants to see, can they come back to form? Can they be game changers? Because with a roster of 18, you cannot afford to take someone that's not 100% fit or actually is going to be able to make a difference when they come off the bench, because you just don't have the players.
Well, thank you very much for watching ESPN on YouTube. For more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for live streaming, premium content, and let's not forget as well, ESPN FC 7 days a week. Subscribe to ESPN Plus.